All right, welcome back, race fans, as we kick off the Daytona week here at 3Y TV with the return of the SimPossible Racing League at Daytona. And yes, it is a Monday, and the B cars are on track. And don't be afraid, don't panic. The series has moved from a Wednesday to a Monday, and the Wednesday series got replaced by the Cup series. So tune in on Wednesday for some Cup action. As my name is Carlos Acosta, and joining me on the booth is Peter Short. Yes, Peter Short. I lied to you. I'm a liar. No, Peter just got home from work very early, I guess, and he was able to join us today. Peter, how you doing?
I'm doing very good, Carlos, and I've been looking forward to SimPossible Racing League getting back on track. Fantastic seasons last year for these drivers, and great to see them out there on the high banks running their qualifying laps right now. So I'm better than good. This should be a fantastic season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a very short race. 40 laps here at Daytona. Not just 40 laps, but also, not just the race is shortened, but also the fuel mileage, as Peter just found out a couple seconds ago that they are running 33% fuel. And Peter, you were doing some quick mental math, and that's working out to about four stops every. About a stop every 10 laps.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see anywhere between 2 and 3 stops here in this race, depending on how much green flag action we do see. Because if we see a couple of cautions, of course, you burn about half as much fuel running around here behind the pace car. Hopefully we don't see much of the pace car here tonight. Hopefully lots of clean and green action, because this race is going to be fantastic, and all these drivers have been looking forward to it in the off season. They want to be out there, they want to be racing and not pacing for all 40 laps here tonight.
Yeah, same with I, and that's something that Jeff Schmidt, the league owner, was mentioning just a little bit before practice started in their drivers chat, saying that, hey, this series has been shortened for time because Monday is a very popular league racing night, not just for a bunch of not just for this league, but also a bunch of leagues that are also starting up around 9, maybe 8:30, 10 p.m. And some of these drivers, they like to run in those leagues, and so do we. Or at least I'm not sure if you're going to be running Monday nights with the K&N cars, but 3-wide. But that's what I'll be spending most of my Mondays once the season kicks off. Right after this is all wrapped up. But yeah, so short races, short fuels, and the drivers have been told, this is more about having green flag runs, preparing yourself for Wednesdays. So cautions, they can usually ruin some of that excitement, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, we only have a minute left here in qualifying, Carlos, and currently atop the leaderboard is the number 14 machine, AJ Digg, reigning champion in that machine. Dave Wilson currently sitting second in the number 20 machine. I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of them this season. But how about that man right there, Kyle Zimmer, in the number 25 machine, and running kind of a Kobe paint scheme on that machine. Yes. Of course, Kobe passing away not all too long ago. May he rest in peace, and all the other fatalities in that helicopter accident. Prayers are with their families continued. But there goes that number 25 machine across the line, and trying to see where Kyle Zimmer clocked in. He clocked in at 5th fastest, currently with a 49.702, about a tenth of a second off the top of the chart there from AJ Digby. There's the number 13 machine. That's Alan Capers. He's going to be back out there killing some cones, I'm sure, this year. If you didn't tune into last year's SimPossible Racing League, where were you? Because it was a fantastic season right here on 3-Wide TV. That man right there killing lots of cones last year. He definitely made a game of it quite a few times, Carlos, and definitely made for some enjoyment up here in the booth. But the checkered flag here has come out on qualifying. You can see currently this racetrack is being touted as a partly cloudy sky at only 67 degrees ambient temperature. A little bit cool in Daytona, but that will up the grip for these drivers out there on the racetrack. But Carlos, they're all out there gritting. I'm sure they have butterflies in their stomach because this 100-mile, 40-lap race is about to get underway.
That's right, and why don't we go ahead and kick off some of that starting grid with that amazing starting grid music as AJ Digby comes out on top. The defending champion is kicking off in all cylinders, just like how he left off at Homestead. With second place, David Wilson. Starting second will be David Wilson. In third place, we have, that is the wrong button. In third place, we have Eddie Hawks and Chris Roberge going to be on the outside on row number 2. Row number 3, we'll have Kyle Zimmer with Alan Capers on the outside. In row number 4, we'll have Kevin Paskowicz, number 27, and Fernando Matos, Fernando Matos did a fantastic promotion video, you can check out on our social media. We posted it this morning, so fantastic job to Fernando Matos. He's been kicking it in the promoting department for us, and it's going to be a fun year. Tim Masters in the inside of row number 5 with Nick Catilla on the outside of row number 5. And Peter, who are you all seeing out there qualifying?
Well, the last qualifier to take time is the number 99 machine of Johnny Berardi, but right behind him will be the 57 Tom Johnson. Tanner Sharp in the number 3 machine will be starting from 13th. Kevin Cochran from the outside of row number 7. Billy Wise and James Efall on row number 8. And rounding out this 18-car grid will be the number 33 of Doug McCollum and the number 66 of Brian Lowhead. Looks like Doug McCollum finally has made it down to the track, and that number 33 machine starting in the 17th position. But Carlos, we got quite a bit of comments going on in the chat. We got Johan Mache saying hello. I think he's going to be rooting for the number 17 of Fernando Matos. We've got Jay Crable, Will Worsler of Will Worsler Racing in the chat, Mitch Brown, Mr. Cosplay, among others. So very, very popular in the chat. Billy Wise Music in there, Max Calder as well. HEF 51 in the chat as well. So should be a good race here. Hopefully they could put on a show here for the fans here on 3 Wide TV. But like I said, this is a start to quite a long season, Carlos. And it isn't paramount that you get a great finish here tonight, but I'm sure a lot of these drivers are hoping they can take the checkered flag when this is all said and done. 40 laps, 100 miles, and only 33% of a tank of fuel. So I expect to see, like I said earlier, 2 to 3 pit stops. And pit stops, I think, could be the real make or break in this race, Carlos. You and I know getting to pit road on a super speedway is never easy. It's very, very tricky. You're having to fight it out with your dancing partners, so to speak, out there on the racetrack as to when and who's going to go down pit road, as well as just the fact that you have to load these cars up from near on 200 miles an hour down to pit road speed limit. And I've seen many, many times drivers get pit road speeding penalties and or slide through their pit box. So that is going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on today.
That's right, as the pace car is going to get ready to pull off of this famed high banks of Daytona with the 4 and 14 looking to kick off, at least with the 20, a fresh paint scheme, a tribute. However, the 14's keeping that same championship scheme. As the pace car is off, these drivers are getting ready to go. When the green flag comes out, that's the league rule. Green flag is out, and the drivers are hitting the gas pedal. The 14 of the 14 of AJ Digby just got a little bit too good of a start there, and that might be able to hurt him a little, especially that outside line, which is looking to be tighter and more bunched up together than the inside line. That could be costly for the 14 of AJ Digby. Now that the outside line's getting some momentum, and we're going to be seeing this pretty much the whole race as drivers going side by side, back to back to back to back, as a couple drivers towards the back are appearing to check up a little. You know, it's 40 laps, it's a short race, but an early caution this early could be detrimental. But Peter, something to note new for this year: only 2 fast repairs. That is half of what they had last year, and as a driver with less fast repairs, Peter, how would you approach this?
Well, you know, I wouldn't at all be surprised that we see someone like Doug McCollum in the number 33 machine who's laying back a little bit. Johnny Berardi and Brian Lowhead, looks like they're trying to save those fast repairs by laying off this big gaggle of cars, which we could really throw a blanket over the top 8 cars as they're almost side by side 8 deep. Now it looks like it started to get a little bit more single file a little bit further back. Fernando Matos ducking in behind Kevin Paskowicz. So now we have 3 rows side by side. But how about them Canadians up there on the high side running second and fourth? The number 20 of Dave Wilson and the number 98 of Chris Roberge trying to work together to get themselves up to the front. like you said, Carlos, we got the McCafe on the hood of the number 20 of Dave Wilson, that bright yellow scheme. Last year he had a bright purple scheme, so I think Dave Wilson's all about the bright colors and showing his way currently pretty strong to the outside of your race leader, AJ Digby.
Yeah, something fresh for the year. Also, aside from some fresh-looking schemes, is the spec map. Some of these drivers have been experimenting with it, and let me tell you what, I really do love the look of Chris Roberge's car. His new paint scheme, you can see any of that silver. That's not silver, that's chromed out, baby. And when the sun hits it just right, it is a beauty.
Yeah, we have a couple of cars in the field who are using those spec maps like you said, but we have had some action up at the front. Dave Wilson's been shuffled back all the way back to about the 5th position, but here comes the 98 of Roberge. Roberge gonna cross the start-finish line as your race leader. Chris Roberge, your new race leader. Eddie Hawks in second in the 45 machine. AJ Digby all of a sudden slides back to around the 2nd or 3rd position. And Digby now is going to pull up to the back bumper of Roberge, but Roberge jumps up to the high side of that number 98 machine. Look at this, 3 wide for the race lead. Look at Dave Wilson going up the middle. He has to back out of it there just a little bit because the 98 Roberge crowding him down a little bit. Capers nowhere to go. And we stay green here at Daytona. No contact. These drivers so far are doing a fantastic job as we're about to complete the 4th lap of the 2020 SimPossible B-Car Series season.
Yeah, there was almost a wreck happening when the 98 kind of thought about blocking the inside, then went to block the outside. Probably not the best time as the inside line really got the run. And the 45 of Eddie Hawks had to make an evasive maneuver, and he scraped the outside wall. Got a little bit of damage, but I think with the draft that they have, it's not going to be too much of an issue. And honestly, with 2 fast repairs, I would not take a fast repair. Just repair it if possible manually, and if not, then save it for the end when you're still running. If you're still running, because as we saw on Sunday in the afternoon, some of these plate races, they can be incredibly hectic, and it's all pretty much a race of attrition.
Yeah, as of right now, so far everyone kind of keeping together in line up here at the front. You see those cars jostling around. It's very difficult, Carlos, to see out front of these cars, especially if you're one of the followers. Of course, for the number 98 of Roberge and Dave Wilson, it's pretty easy because you're currently sitting as the 2 leaders of the 2 main groups that we have seen form. But if you're Kyle Zimmer, AJ Digby sitting in the 3rd and 4th positions, it's very difficult to see through the car in front of you and just kind of follow each other. You kind of see them sway back and forth on the straightaway. There's also the air that buffets them around, and these drivers have to overcome that. We ride on board here with AJ Digby, the pole sitter earlier in this race, led the first few laps, got shuffled back, now back up into the 3rd position and trying to push the 20 of Dave Wilson to the outright race lead. But Kyle Zimmer trying to push Roberge to the race lead. So once again, things ebbing and flow.
Oh no!
Roberge on the 14 of Digby. Hard in the outside wall goes the 25 of Kyle Zimmer. And this is the first big one here at Daytona. Billy Wise involved. A couple of others, the 57 unfortunately involved Tom Johnson. And there's Digby. And I don't know what happened. This will happen right between Digby and Roberge. And Digby went up the racetrack maybe just a little bit, maybe making a little bit of side contact with that number 98 machine, and it was on from there. Heavy contact with a lot of cars. Ooh, looks at James Efall on the 88, got a piece of it back there too. And this is what Doug McCollum, Brian Lohead, Johnny Berardi were kind of expecting. That's why they were laying back quite far. Let's look at this slow-mo replay. Yeah, there's the contact, and that put the number 98 machine going around in the spin cycle. And, oh, man, look at the 25 machine of Kyle Zimmer.
Got airborne.
Heavy contact with the outside wall.
Yeah, now iRacing has disabled the blowover feature because it is an option. It's just disabled, but you can still get some air when you hit the car hard enough. And the 25 of Kyle Zimmer definitely hit it hard enough as he got all 4 tires up off of the racetrack. Pardon me, that was a bad time for me to cut off the word asphalt. It's trying to take a look on board with the gyro cam, see if we can get an onboard look with the 25. As we're not demonetized.
Heavy hit. That is a very heavy hit with the outside wall there, Carlos. It's for a good time where you can see the catch fencing through your front window here at Daytona. any racetrack for that matter. So unfortunately for Kyle Zimmer, he's out there on the racetrack right now smoking as that engine has grenaded. He's getting a little bit of help from, I believe, the 88 of James Efall. No, excuse me, that's the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. Two fairly similarly schemed race cars out there, both Tanner Sharp and James Efall throwing kind of a Dale Earnhardt Jr. Motorsports type paint scheme. Tanner Sharp
that's a
sporting
type.
the
I think that
Hellman scheme.
is.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying, but nonetheless, Zimmer out there in that 25 machine killing all the bugs, which I'm sure all the fans will be appreciating. But all your race leaders on pit road as we speak. Dave Wilson in the 20 machine gets in his pit box. I expect to see a few of these drivers use those fast repairs, Carlos. We said there were 2 of them. AJ Digby has elected to take tires and use a fast repair, but Dave Wilson looks like he only took fuel. Kevin Paskowicz and Nate Catilla also doing the same. Catilla has a lot of damage on that number 4 Monster Energy machine.
I think it's the 57 of Tom Johnson missed his stall, and he's going to have to hope that the engine doesn't blow with that heavily damaged race car for at least one more lap.
Yeah, you're right. That number 57 looking like a modified out with that front end all showing to the crowd. But I'll tell you what, Dave Wilson, I think he made a good choice to not take tires. There's the number 32, Billy Wise. Is he going to use a fast repair? Oh, he had to take a tow, so he's going to probably lose a lap in this ordeal. There's the number 99, Johnny Berardi. Remember, he was one of those drivers laying back. And Carlos, one of the drivers who didn't get all too much damage would be the number 17 of Fernando Matos. He was involved in that accident. He does have a crinkled end front end, but he is electing to not use a fast repair at this moment in time.
That's a smart move.
There he is. I think it's a smart move as well. You got to save him. I mean, we've seen quite a few accidents here at Daytona, and there he is finally rolling in that number 17 Wellstar Ford Mustang. Back up onto the racetrack goes him as well as Capers and Johnny Berardi. Looks like Capers, he's missing a front end. So I think for Capers, that could be a bit of a problem. I don't know if he knows that there is that significant amount of damage on that race car or not. Digby back up there on the racetrack with a clean race car after using a fast repair. Tim Masters didn't use a fast repair, but a little bit of a crinkled back end. So strategy calls early, Carlos. Carlos, I just want to say, and there's the number 57. Looks like he's getting as much. No, he's going to try and keep it modified. Maybe he went out there on the racetrack, Carlos, and kind of felt it out once he missed pit road and thinks that it has enough speed in it to keep up with the field. There's the 66 of Lowhead on pit road now, but pace car lights are off. We're going to go back to green flag action.
As somebody looks like has a little bit of the hiccups or a yawn, as Peter, it's been a long Monday too, and if it's anything as tough, you're watching your Monday was probably tougher than mine, and I'm already tired. It's gonna be a long week for sure at where we work, but that being said, it's Daytona week. I'm excited. We already had an exciting first couple of laps. We're about to finish about 10 laps already in this race. We got 40 laps here. We got I don't remember how many laps tomorrow with the ASRS Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series, Glassdoor Brewing's 250, and then we got, I also don't remember how many laps on Wednesday with the inaugural race of the SimPossible Racing League Cup Series, and that's oh my God, Peter, take over.
Well, yeah, definitely. Hopefully you're all right there, Carlos. But getting all choked up. That happened to me last night commentating here on 3 Wide TV. We had a race late last night, but the green flag back in the air. Hopefully we don't get choked up over anything else because the number 20 of Dave Wilson is back and away. Again, a little bit of help by the number 98 of Chris Reverge. Reverge using fast repair after being right there in the epicenter of that contact. But let's keep an eye on Kevin Cochran in the number 80 machine. New paint scheme on that car for the 2020 season, and he's now worked his way up into the 3rd position with that pass on Kevin Paskowicz. Oh, here comes Chris Reberge. Reberge looking for the race lead. We got a couple of drivers near the back of the field that are kind of dropping off here. One of those being the number 45 of Eddie Hawks in the U.S. Air Force. Love that A-10 Thunderbolt scheme Fernando Matos also getting some black flags cleared, but the race leaders are catching up to the 57 of Tom Johnson here, Carlos. Tom Johnson, you mentioned it, has quite a bit of damage, and he's out there on the high side just getting absolutely freight trained by the whole field, missing that front end still, so he has not used a fast repair, and this is not what he had been hoping for. There's the 32, Billy Wise. He, on the other hand, had to take a tow. He's one lap down, yes. So that number 32 machine back in business, but will need to catch up to the number 57 of Tom Johnson if he wants to get that lap back by a lucky dog. And bad news for him, the field is only about a quarter of a lap behind him, and that won't be all too long. But Chris Roberge made that move on Dave Wilson when we went back to green down the backstretch, and he is your new race leader here with 29 laps to go. There's Kevin Cochran ducking out to the high side, trying to get someone to go with him, unable to do so. And it looks like Tanner Sharp is going to stick down there on the inside groove with a little bit of help from James Efall. And so those two, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Junior Motorsports machines, are moving their way to the front. What's Tanner Sharp going to do? Is Tanner going to make a move here on the backstretch? He has a good run coming out of turn number 2. Doesn't do anything just yet. So we got 2 Fords out front, followed by 2 Chevrolets and another Ford, and then another Chevrolet. So kind of a mix of different car manufacturers up towards the front. Of course, it was last season, Carlos, where we saw Dave Wilson in a Toyota, but this year making the switch over to a Ford in that number 20 machine.
Yes, that's right. It's new rides, new vehicles, new paint schemes, and I actually don't know if anybody has changed their numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had. This season, the excitement is already showing. As I think maybe there's a little bit too much excitement as these drivers. I think they're doing a sort of like self rule of just taking it easy for a couple more laps and seeing just how much fuel these guys have and getting the feel of the racetrack. As maybe not as these Dale Earnhardt inspired race cars might start peaking out and maybe going side by side. And for the time being, 27 laps to go. This front 10 is pretty much single file. As I believe 11 on back is where we see some of the drivers with damage, or some drivers that may have lost the draft, including Tim Masters and that fantastic hand-scribbled paint scheme. And yes, it is in fact hand-scribbled. It's the template got printed, scribbled on it, and then copied, scanned right back into the computer. And that's how you achieve a scheme like that, Peter.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique scheme. I know we saw also Fernando Matos have a hand-drawn paint scheme last year. Of course, that was actually drawn by someone from a local hospital, or someone also having certain disabilities. And, you know, we haven't highlighted this here tonight yet, Carlos, but if this is the first time watching the SimPossible Racing League, this is a league for disabled drivers. All of the drivers in this field have some form of disability, wide-ranging levels of disabilities, but all of these drivers are able to be out there on the racetrack, and they definitely have shown a massive amount of improvement. And it goes back to the fact that this is a place where drivers with disabilities can come and learn and just get familiar with these race cars. They have adaptive controllers, a lot of them, and get used to those adaptive controllers in an environment where everyone is very welcoming and everyone's understanding of their different walks of life. So it's very, very cool to see that. And right here at Daytona, they're all having a whale of a time. I'm sure you see those drivers zigzagging there on the front stretch as we turn in yet another lap. Just 24 laps to go now. And Carlos, it's probably been about 5 or 6 laps since we had that last pit stop. So we're probably going to look at pit stops happening again here in about 7 or 8 laps if we stay green. But that, I believe, will potentially set us up for one more stop. But it's going to be close whether or not the next stop will be the last stop here at Daytona. Of course, that does depend on whether or not there will be a caution. But it's going to be a very, very interesting end to this SimPossible Racing League event, so don't go anywhere here on 3 Wide TV. Right now, your current race leader, Chris Roberge, leading the way, 23 laps to go.
And yes, before we do get to actual green flag pit stops, why don't we go ahead and see if we can listen in to a friendly voice in the spotters chat when we hop on into that number 4 radio and just listen into the fantastic words of Wayne Lowe as he tries to guide Nate Catilla through this traffic.
Clear by 2 out back. Just stay where you're at there. Just narrows the field down. Just ride in single file. No need to make a move now. So, let's see. Still about 5 laps away, at least. They might have to come at 4 laps because we got that extra lap for pitting a lap after. So we're going to have to come with them. It's not really going to help us, but our pit time will be a little shorter. We're not going to take tires. I can't bank on everybody else not taking tires as well. Or, I mean, as everybody else taking tires. So we're going to have to just make sure that we're stay with the pack.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carlos, some very interesting words there in regards to some pitch strategy from Wayne Lowe and Nate Catilla. So that, just sitting in with the spotter there, Wayne Lowe, gives us a little bit of an inclination on just how this race is going to pan out. But the number 32 machine, unfortunately, Billy Weiss has now fallen 2 laps down. The good news for that number 32 machine is he is now the first car 1 lap down. Tom Johnson has fallen 2 laps down as well. In fact, Tom Johnson coming to pit road as we speak right now on the front stretch. But look at the number 33 machine of Doug McCollum going all the way up to the top side of the racetrack, maybe getting out of it here just a little bit, thinking they're getting a little bit racy for my liking up front. Remember, Doug McCollum was one of those drivers who elected to stay back in that first run here at Daytona. But Carlos, we are now halfway in the first SimPossible Racing League B-Car event of 2020.
Yes, we are, and the race is going by quickly as designed. So with these quick races, you got to minimize or even not have a single mistake. Daytona and Talladega maybe a little bit more forgiving, but other tracks coming up, you cannot have these mistakes, especially if we go on long green flag runs. And yes, these fantastic disabled drivers have gone green flag to the end before, so it's entirely possible that one mistake can pretty much take you out of the race win. So one grave mistake coming up now in the next couple of maybe minutes or seconds would be sliding and shooting past that pit stop, or getting a speeding penalty, as looked like somebody was going to go down pit road, but that was just a little bit to play on my imagination. Peter, what's your best advice on avoiding those mistakes?
Well, you really just have to stay focused for this entire race to just not make mistakes. Daytona is one of those racetracks where you can get a little bit complacent as a race car driver just because you're kind of just riding out there on the racetrack. But staying focused, staying in the game, keeping an eye on how much fuel you have, keeping an eye on how much tire you have. I don't expect to see a lot of these drivers take tires basically this entire race, as the field is now catching up to lap traffic of Fernando Matos and Alan Capers. And Carlos,
here we go.
Unfortunately here we go. Everyone coming down pit road, hard on the brakes. Here comes the 98 of Roberge. Now we'll have to see if any of these drivers end up with a speeding penalty of some sort. But yeah, like you said, all of a sudden everyone hitting the pit lane here on lap number 22. So Carlos, the pit window is a little bit shorter, I think, than I even thought. It might only be about 11 laps because they only went 14 laps with a couple of caution laps in there. So very, very short pit window here. And Dave Wilson took fuel, and he is down and away. A couple of these other drivers down and away as well. We got one car, looks like, taking tires perhaps. Christopher Bursch came in as the race leader, and I think he took possibly left side tires. And he took both side tires. So that's an interesting call for that number 98 machine. Kyle Zimmer coming out behind him. James Efall a little bit further back, and Alan Capers. Kevin Cochran and Eddie Hawks, however, might have had stop and holds. Nope, Eddie Hawks was just a little bit further back from the pack, as was Kevin Cochran. Not quite sure what happened to Kevin Cochran in the number 80 machine because he was with the group, hit it. Oh, he overshot his pit box, Carlos, and then took 4 tires. So Kevin Cochran kind of a double whammy there. He's now well back and he's lost the lead pack. But speaking of the lead pack, it has gone from about 8 to 9 cars. And your new race leader, when it all shuffles out, is Dave Wilson. And he's being followed by Kevin Paskowicz and Tanner Sharp. Here we go, on board with the number 3 machine of Tanner Sharp. And there are a lot of car lengths back to the number 17 of Fernando Matos. Matos did elect to use a fast repair. So Matos currently sitting the first car 1 lap down in that number 17 machine. So if we were to get a caution, it would be Fernando Matos. But your race leader, Dave Wilson, catching up to the number 66 of Brian Lowhead and Tim Masters, both in 13th and 12th spots, respectively, currently. But this race is quickly winding down, Carlos. 17 laps to go, and it looks like we're going to have at least one more pit stop based off of the last pit window of only about 13 laps or so. I expect to see probably a lot of these cars on pit road in about probably about 8 or 9 laps from now.
And this is a very interesting decision by the race management of shortening the fuel quantity. But you know what? I'm enjoying it. We already have, pit strategy, and these drivers have to not only plan for that, but also plan for more of that, as well as they have to exercise their ability to going down pit road. There are some leagues, some people in leagues and some people in officials that don't even know how to do that. But I've been seeing these drivers practice going down pit road during the practice session. They've been talking about different approaches to entering the pit stall and different approaches to exiting, especially now that iRacing has implicated a required racing line or merging line for these oval tracks. So it's definitely a unique challenge. So from going to it being just short races on Monday nights to it being shorter races with more extreme pit strategies and pit actions. So definitely an interesting decision, and honestly one that I'm okay with. I would honestly like to try something like this out. They probably have to pit 3 to 4 times tonight, and pretty much every week, and that's 3 to 4 different possible mistake times that you could have. And honestly, I kind of want to drive these now.
Yeah, now what I'm watching is you have a 3-car tandem right up here at the front of the pack. In fact, it is probably going to grow a little bit because of Johnny Berardi and Tim Masters just in front of your race leaders. But we have a gaggle of cars: Doug McCollum, AJ Digby, Billy Wise, Nate Catilla, and Fernando Matos. There's a 3-car gaggle up at the front, and there's a 5-car gaggle trying to chase them down. It'll be interesting whether or not they can do so. Last time by, looks like your race leaders ran a 47.5. Doug McCollum and AJ Digby about 0.2 of a second faster than that. So they are closing in slowly but surely, but they're currently scored about 3 seconds behind your race leader, Dave Wilson. We are riding on board with the 33 of Doug McCollum right now as they work their way through the tri-oval. Catching a little bit of lap traffic right in front is the number 99 of Berardi. Berardi using a little bit higher groove. Now he's going to come down a little bit, which is good for Doug McCollum. McCollum's going to be able to get a draft here, and looks like presumably will go by on the main straightaway. 33 keeping it on that yellow line, getting help from Digby from behind. So it does look like, Carlos, that second pack is catching your race leaders by about 0.3 of a second a lap, which means if they can stick together and continue that type of pace, they will catch that.
This lap is going to be a good one. I think they may have gained 0.7 of a second this lap alone. Hold on. Let's take a look at what the survey says. 4.7 to a 4.5. Never mind. I guess I'm going crazy. It looked like they were really gaining a lot of time, but
no, you were right. They gained almost a full second that last time.
Oh yeah, they did miss 0.7 of a second. I am going. Hey, I failed math a couple times back in college, so.
So that second group definitely catching your lead group, but it's not too long away now, Carlos. Probably about 4 laps that we'll see all these drivers back on pit road, and that is going to cause another interesting event. Like you said, another opportunity for these drivers to make some mistakes. got to give a shout out to Jonathan Cogswell in the chat, Max Calder, Jay Crable, Bobby Elder as well. Just got to say hello and hope you guys are enjoying this live 3-wide TV action here from Daytona International Speedway, the first of the SimPossible Racing League V-Car Series, and it is an absolute doozy so far.
I also want to say shout out to all the people watching. We got 22 viewers, not 21 viewers, and I think this is one of the biggest watch views for SimPossible. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for believing in these drivers, and thank you so much for watching what these guys are doing. As SimPossible Racing League has become one of the more. Oh, what's up,
Carlos? That two groups of cars have now become one because Doug McCollum, AJ Digby ran down that front group with help from behind in the 32 and the number 4 machine. And we have a race here with just under 11 more markers around this racetrack. Ooh, wow, look at the number 3 machine there of Tanner Sharp, kind of getting out of shape. Looks like he didn't quite know what line he was going to go, and Doug McCullum had to go all the way up to the top of the racetrack to avoid any contact with that number 3 machine. But all of a sudden, these drivers getting really racy because the laps are winding down. A little bit of a bump draft there from the number 3 of Tanner Sharp, and also AJ Digby laying his front bumper on the back. So, contact, more contact. McCollum in the outside wall, and big wreck from behind. Digby gone around. 32 Billy Wise involved as well, and there was just a little bit of contact between the number 3 and the 33, so a couple of number 3s coming together in turn number 3. You see, looked like the 3 of Tanner Sharp caught the apron there, Carlos, and it was on from there.
Yeah, just a 3 did caught just a bad angle in the middle of that corner, and it unfortunately caused some action there happening. Let's just take a look at it one more time.
Yeah, there's that contact with that apron, and it just shot that Hellman's Chevy up the racetrack. And look at Kevin Paskowicz, really impressed with that number 27 machine, not to make things any worse. It looks like he might have run into the back of that number 3 machine, but Paskowicz did a fantastic job holding on to that race car. And looks like a little bit of front-end damage on Paskowicz's machine, but he'll be able to come down pit road and get it fixed. But Carlos, with under 9 laps to go, they'll come down, make their final pit stop. Oof, there's that heavy contact there on that replay. But this will be the last pit stop for sure. And all of a sudden, with the caution coming out, it's a whole new ball game.
That's right. The drivers are getting ready to go down the pit road. The question is, tires or no tires? You're not really going to take much of a penalty. It's just going to be where you restart. Peter, what's your call?
No tires.
Really?
If I'm Dave Wilson, I'm not taking any tires at all. This car is going to be full of fuel in about 4 seconds. If you decide to take 2 tires, you're going to have about a 3-second extra stop. So he's going to roll to his pit box right now, and he's just taking fuel. I don't see any movement from the tires, and nope, the tires stay on the pit wall, and the number 20 leads us off pit road with Tanner Sharp right behind him. Kevin Paskowicz, third car off pit road. Not seeing whether or not Paskowicz took a fast repair. Doesn't look like he did. So he's going to save one of those fast repairs, but we do have drivers in this field having to use them. One of those drivers being the number 14 of Digby. Well, I say that, but looks like Digby is going to stay in his pit box here, Carlos. Maybe Digby's expecting some more action here in the closing lap, and maybe he's going to save that fast repair.
Yeah.
Remember, he was the 2019 B-Car Series champion here in the SimPossible Racing League, and he's still sitting there on pit lane with quite a bit of damage on all 4 corners of that number 14 machine.
It's an interesting strategy. I don't quite remember if he got caught up in an earlier incident. If he has 2 fast repairs, definitely take one right now. But I know AJ, and he's not gonna be saving fast repairs with 8 laps to go if he's got multiple. I'm sure he maybe accidentally used one, or if he got caught up in an accident, he used it earlier. He's gonna be cautious. If you have one fast repair, I don't know, maybe. Depends on how you feel. If you feel like you can definitely move up to the front very, very quickly without any issues, and don't go for it, then go for it. But if you feel like you don't have anything right now and you're expecting a caution, then definitely save that fast repair for another time, as I believe we should be going 2 to go. Nope, not yet. Why don't we go see if we can catch up and talk to somebody? Peter, gonna go vent for a bit while you select a driver. As 2 men to choose from, 7 laps to go. I don't know whose take I want to hear, but Peter, who have you caught up with?
Well, I'm still trying to catch up with one of these drivers. I'm kind of scrolling through. There's a lot of drivers that we could talk to. Well, let's see. We'll see maybe if we can dial up your current second place car, the number 3 machine of Tanner Sharp. Where is Tanner currently in here? Whoa, I don't see Tanner Sharp actually, believe it or not. Not quite sure where he's hanging out at, but let's see if we can talk to AJ Digby. I know that's always a good interview. AJ Digby here, 3 Wide TV booth. Looks like you were thinking about trying to save a fast repair out there on pit lane, and you're a little bit further back now, but that number 14 machine, were you thinking of saving that fast repair right to the end? I think you have 1 left if you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I saved it. I wanted to be able to save both, but that early caution really tarnished that idea. I was about a lap away before the first caution of just dropping to the back and chilling. And so wish I would have done that a lap sooner, but oh well. And then this last one didn't have a ton of damage. I think it's going to hurt me a little bit, but was able to take all the optional. Still going to be a little bit hurting on speed, but who knows what'll happen, you know? Something could happen, cautions. People are going to be a little bit aggressive here in the end, so I figured it's better to take the optional while my car can take the optional, and then decide to take the required or fast repair later on if needed. So I have the option that if something goes haywire that I can fix up my car, but I'm fast enough that I can hang on and potentially still make some moves. So just gonna top off on fuel here in case of green-white checkers and things like that, and we'll see what happens. You never know what can happen at a plate track, and it's been a good start so far to the 2020 campaign here in the B car.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck in these closing laps, AJ, and we'll see if you're going to be able to retain your crown as the B Car Series champion here in the SimPossible Racing League. We're looking forward to this season.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, that was your reigning 2019 SimPossible B Car Series champion, AJ Digby. And Carlos, very interesting to hear that. I know we heard this, we've seen this in the SimPossible Racing League quite a bit, that saving your fast repairs is just as important as using them at times. And AJ Digby here electing to save one in case there's a big scuffle in front of him.
That's true, and 5 laps to go. Hopefully, well, not hopefully in his case, but hopefully we don't get to see another caution. However, if we do, we would have the ability to use a green-white checkered, so this race will more than likely end under green. That being said, pace car is getting ready to pull off as I'm excited. I know Johan Mace is excited. He's got his popcorn. Same thing with Jonathan Cogswell. He's excited, saying it's getting down to the wire as the green flag is back out. These drivers are hard on the gas as side by side as these drivers cross start finish line, battling for this race win with 4 laps to go.
And Carlos, I saw Nate that he pulled out there on that restart, went below the yellow line and let most of the field by. He went from 6th all the way back now to around the 16th position, so big drop for that machine, back to around the 16th car in line, not quite the 16th position, as we do have a couple of lappers out there. But here comes the move from Eddie Hawks in the 45 machine. He's going to jump to the height side in that U.S. Air Force machine. Going to pull up on the back end of Kevin Paskowicz. Oh, trying to put it 3 wide there through the middle. You see that A10 Thunderbolt, those Flying Tigers-esque mouth scheme on that machine, and he's trying to dig his way up to the front of the field, unable to do so just yet. That inside line formed up nice and strongly here with now 4 laps to go.
Yeah, these drivers, that inside line, it's going to be hard to beat unless the inside line sabotages themselves by battling side by side. As I don't know. Chris Roberts, he's an aggressive driver. He's going to try to get the job done. Oh, some of these drivers are pulling out. I think that's the 3 of Tanner Sharp all the way up against the outside wall with the 45 right behind him as never mind. Oh, Tanner got a little bit loose there trying to get back down to the inside. We saw that at the Cup Series on Sunday, and we're seeing that now as Peter, maybe this track is getting a little bit difficult to run with these old tires.
Yeah, of course, the sun has been beating down on this racetrack all day, but Tanner Sharp once again pulls out to the high side, to the outside of Doug McCollum up the front. Nothing doing out of the number 98 of Roberge as he quickly had a little bit of a peek to the outside of the number 20 machine. But 33. Here comes Doug McCollum in the 33. Starting to make some noise up there. Will Roberge go with him? McCollum trying to do a little bit of side drifting. There goes Roberge. Throws a block on him, and all of a sudden that outside line very much broken up.
Oh no!
Oh, Kyle Zimmer spinning around in the inside of the racetrack. He's going to save it. Does a 360 in the grass. We stay green flag here at Daytona. The field is catching the number 17 of Fernando Matos. Matos doesn't know which way to go. He's going to pull in front of the 20 of Wilson. This could be interesting with just 2 laps to go.
Fantastic. It's the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. Takes advantage of the 98 stalling a little on the outside line as he shoots down to the inside, getting right behind the 20's rear bumper as now Tanner Sharp is in prime position to make a last lap move as, oh no, the 45-3 and everybody's wrecking except for the race leader. Caution is out now.
My. It looked like possibly the 3 of Tanner Sharp might have tried to throw a block. We have Tim Masters, ladies and gentlemen, stuck in the tires on the inside of the racetrack. Watch that number 3 try and move up on the 45 of Eddie Hawks. I think Hawks got a fantastic run, wanted to make that move, and the 3 just left it a little bit too late, and all of a sudden, this race has changed complexion considerably. Lots of cars damaged, including the 45, Eddie Hawks, Nate Cattilla in the 4 machine, good chunk of rear end damage. Alan Capers getting damaged. Billy Weiss has a clean race car, but he's currently being scored 2 laps down. There you see that replay. The 27 of Paskowicz, tough break for him. That number 27 didn't have much of a scratch on it. There you see the 33, Doug McCollum getting up on his side. Very spectacular accident here with just 2 laps to go, Carlos, but we're going to have a green-white checker here at Daytona.
That'll be exciting for sure. Let's go on board with the number 4 of Nate Cattilla. He had a couple cars pretty much on top of him. Take a look right there. The 33 just gets up and over on top as the 3 of Tanner Sharp pretty much almost hit the same thing. A gaggle of 3s there for the number 4 of Nate Cattilla. See, who else should we look at? That Tim Masters got stuck on the inside wall. Take a look and see if that was true.
Oh, man,
it looked like he had just cleared it.
Yeah, look at the number 80, Kevin Cochran, going around, and just back into the tires right there at the end of that one. You can see that machine stuck in the rubber out there, and that is very, very unfortunate for that number 9 machine. But we are going to have a 2-lap shootout here. We do have 3 attempts at the green-white checker here in the SimPossible Racing League. It should put on an absolute show for the fans. We got a couple people in the chat, those fans being Wesley Lee. How's it going, Wesley? I know always rooting for Alan Capers in that number 13 machine, and unfortunately for Alan Capers, got a little bit of damage on that race car and also currently being scored 2 laps down. Will Worsler saying, bad situation for Will Worsler Racing affiliates. Yeah, that definitely not the way you want to have an accident here in the closing stages. But that man right there, killing cones like he does. The cone killer himself, Alan Capers, always with that bright purple race car. You can't miss him out there on the racetrack. But not very many race cars out there without damage right now. One of those drivers perhaps being the man that we talked to not too long ago. AJ Digby elected to use a fast repair, Carlos. He saw what happened, came down pit road, and we'll have to see whether or not he can use that clean race car to his advantage here in the closing stages.
Yeah, it's a good thing that he saved that fast repair. Exactly what Max Calder just said is, The hard part's done now. I think another caution might just happen on the last lap, and there might not be a yellow, or the race will end in the yellow. But AJ Digby, he's in prime position to get himself a good finish. Now the question is, does he have the luck? We know he has the skill, but he needs to also have the luck. He needs the things to go his way. If he throws blocks, they need to be perfect. If somebody tries to block him, they either need to be perfect at blocking, or they need to not make contact, because there's no point in having a clean car if it's going to end up wreck up against the wall with coming to the start-finish sign.
Yeah, we'll see how this all pans out, I should say. AJ Digby will restart this thing from the 4th position, second car on the outside line, but Dave Wilson will lead us to the green flag. Chris Roberge second in that number 98 Canada machine.
Let's go see if we can have a quick chat with Chris Roberge. And oh, yes, he is. As a matter of fact, let's go over to his spotter chat and have a chat with him and his spotter. Chris Roberge and Corey, I'm not quite sure how to say your last name, so I'm sorry. This is Carlos from 3 White TV. You guys got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, Corey. All right. What's your last name?
It's Bodnot.
Bodnot. I apologize. I'm going to butcher that. You guys are coming down to a green-white checkered finish. What do you have in store?
Hopefully a win.
Hopefully just holding together, that's all we can do. We're just trying to just go, hopefully we can finish this off.
All right, well, it seems like with this green-white checkered, what's your plan? Do you want to get to the lead right away, or are you going to push to 20 for a little bit until maybe the last lap?
Probably just to see what I can get. If I can get ahead of 20, that 20 pushes me to win, or I will just stay right behind 20 and just pull the last part and then hopefully get a win that way.
All right.
He's driver, I'm the spotter. I'm going with his plan. Let the things roll into our hands.
Yeah, you don't really have the choice considering that he's the one driving. Peter, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Pace car lights are up. I'm going to let them get back to it. Focus on these last few laps. Pull those seatbelts tight one last time, because this is going to get very exciting here at the end of this race. Best of luck, guys.
Well, thank you very much there, Peter.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Carlos, 2 laps to go. Of course, we do have the opportunity of having a couple other green-white checkers in this race. Doug McCollum went down pit road in the number 33 machine. He's continuing to try and get as much damage repaired. Hopefully that answers your question, Max, that number 33 machine of McCollum. Just getting damage repaired as much as possible for this finish. We got Tim Masters in the number 9 machine. He had to use a tow after getting stuck on the inside wall. He still sits in his pit box currently. But pace car lights are off. We're halfway down the back stretch, Carlos, and should be a fantastic show. Cars without damage in the field. That's going to be an interesting question. Dave Wilson, Chris Roberge, AJ Digby, James Efall in the number 88 machine without damage. The 45 Eddie Hawks, he's saved fast repairs, as has the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. Kevin Paskowicz is looking nice and clean. Kevin Cochran as well. So really it looks like the first 8 cars or so don't have any damage. And we got some other cars a little bit further back suffering little nicks and scrapes here and there. A couple cars laps down as well. Fernando Matos, I think he actually got the wave around. So Matos back on the lead lap down in the 11th position. But pace car on pit road. Green flag back in the air here at Daytona. Dave Wilson on the loud pedal with just 2 laps to go. Will we stay green? Will we see another green-white checker? Only time will tell as they race off towards turn number 1, Carlos.
Yeah, side by side once again. 2 laps to go. We are now currently 4 laps past the original schedule. Oh no!
AJ Digby, your champion, has been pushed up into the outside. Whoa, wow! The 27 flipping up and over. And that is Kevin Paskowicz, who's gone for an absolute ride. What a tough break. I just mentioned that car was nice and clean. Let's see what happened here. Looks like the 88 machine. Yeah, possibly a little bit of net code there, Carlos. You were right, between the 88 and the 98, but that's not what Chris Reverge wanted to have happen. And there's the 27 machine, Paskowicz going flipping through the air. And that is a tough break for him and particularly all the drivers involved in this accident. Let's watch this one more time. Yep, there's the initial contact. This is riding on board with Paskowicz's. Well, this hit right here, boom, sends him flipping through the Daytona sky. Luckily able to land on all four wheels, but there's quite a few cars with heavy damage, including the 99 of Johnny Berardi, Brian Lowhead. One of the drivers who got out of this mostly unscathed is the number 17 of Fernando Matos. Just got back on the lead lap. He actually went through the grass to try and avoid that accident. Good avoidance by Fernando Matos. He got a little bit of air doing so. Hit a little opening in the racetrack or some kind of ditch or something. Threw that number 17 machine up into the air and on two wheels. But for that man right there, the number 20 machine of Dave Wilson, these cautions, not exactly what he wants to see. He wants to see the checkered flag. But we're now working the second of 3 attempts at the green-white checker. And Carlos, it's going to be interesting to see if there is potential of some of these drivers running out of fuel. I know we heard from AJ Digby that he thought that if there was going to be a couple of green-white checkered, that they might have a possibility of running out. And I got to say, I wouldn't be too surprised because Dave Wilson up there, your race leader, he hasn't pitted in about 8 laps. Granted, we've had quite a few caution laps in there, so
my telemetry
we'll wait
is showing,
and see.
My telemetry is showing that he hasn't pitted in 13 laps, so Dave Wilson is probably in danger.
Oh.
However, James DeFault, Tanner Sharp, everybody else on back, it's been 5 laps since they've gone down pit road. That last caution, the majority of them went down pit road the first chance they could to either top up or repair any damages. Remember, a bunch of the drivers did get involved in that incident.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, we have a lot of drivers on pit road right now trying to get some damage fixed, including the number 14 machine of AJ Digby, the number 98 Chris Reberge. Tim Masters still sits in his pit box after getting stuck in the tire barrier. Nate Catilla on pit road getting damage repaired. Tough break for those drivers. Johnny Berardi has used the fast repair after being out there smoking, but he's being scored 2 laps down. Tom Johnson has used the fast repair on the 57. He's 3 laps down. But Matos back there with a decent amount of damage. Alan Capers with damage. Kyle Zimmer has some right front damage. But now we only see 5 cars out there without damage, those being Kevin Cochran in 5th, Eddie Hawks in 4th, Tanner Sharp in 3rd, James Efaw in 2nd, and Dave Wilson, your race leader. In fact, Dave Wilson might have a little bit of damage looking at the rear end of his car, but nothing significant. I don't think it will affect that race car at all here in the closing laps.
That's true, as I believe I've noticed a small issue on our ticker as, oh, never mind, I guess it's working back up again. Is going to be a second attempt at green-white checkered. We should be going back to green the next time by, as this should be one to go. Let's take a look.
Pace car lights stay on.
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back for the continuation of this race.
There ain't nothing you the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, we are back 1-2 green. Peter's still with me as we're about to start our second of 3 attempts at green white checkers. Honestly, I think another wreck, and I think these drivers will probably be out of the race for realsies, considering that I'm sure maybe 1 or 2 drivers may have at least one, or at a max of one fast repair left. Peter, what are your thoughts on this race so far?
Well, it's a lot of action, just what I'm expecting to see at Daytona again on Wednesday night out of the SimPossible Racing League, because they're going to be throwing the cup cars around this 2.5-mile famed racetrack, the World Center of Racing. And I'll tell you what, with pace car lights off, 2 laps to go, the second of 3 attempts at the green-white checkers. You see a beautiful 737 there landing in the background.
How fast?
Very, very fast. Too fast, in fact. I don't know exactly what speed that plane lands at in iRacing. I'll tell you what, it is too fast. I think that is probably even above the maximum flap limit, around 230 knots. So probably would have the flaps fall off if that plane landed that fast. But nonetheless, that's beyond the scope of this race. And currently, Dave Wilson, your race leader, he's dominated this race, really. Can he hold on for 2 more laps, waiting for the green flag to come out? And there it is, green flag in the air here at Daytona once again. That number 20 gets away to a good start over James Efa on the 88 machine, Carlos.
Yeah, second and third place is populated by the 3 and the number 88. As if these two can get together, maybe not like that, but if these two can get together, it's going to be incredibly dangerous for anybody that isn't up. Isn't one of those Will Wursler Racing Chevys, as they're a little bit separated with 1 car in between, as Peter. Drivers appear to be keeping it nice and clean, but very, very close, about to head into turn number 3.
Look at Kevin Cochran in the number 80 machine. He's pulled up into the 3rd position. Looks like the 45 machine of Eddie Hawks trying to get that outside line going. But, maybe a little bit of contact there with James Efa on the number 88 machine. But this is some good tight... contact between the 45 and the 88. And going through the grass. Looks like the 17, Fernando Matos, going sliding. No caution here. And, my goodness. Alan Capers on the 25. Oh, my goodness. This is a huge accident. No caution. Can you believe this? Wow. There's the 3 cars battling for the race win. Who's going to make a move? As a whole heap of cars are going to the junkyard after this thing. But currently, Dave Wilson leading the way. No one able to do anything just yet. Here comes James Efa. He's drafting up. He's sucking up to this 3-car pack in the 88 machine. And here comes Tanner Short trying to go to the high side. Cochran's going to go with him. No, Cochran's going to go with Wilson. No, who's Cochran going to go with? And Tanner Short going to get a push from the 88. They're side by side. Right on the line is Wilson.
I thought it was Tanner.
No, it is Tanner.
It is Tanner.
I couldn't tell that. Tanner Sharp by 7/1000ths of a second. My, couldn't even pick out who won the race because it was so close. Let's see that one more time. I thought that number 20 machine had just squeaked his nose out front right at the start-finish line, but Tanner Sharp goes to victory lane here at Daytona International Speedway. Wow. Fantastic finish after all that. A couple of cars slowly making their way across the start-finish line. One of those, Fernando Matos, involved in that accident. Nate Catilla, tons of damage on that number 4 machine, but he's going to come home with 5th. I'm sure he's not too bummed about that. Christopher Burge, 7th. Kyle Zimmer, 8th. And then a whole heap of cars finishing off the racetrack with significant amounts of damage. But that man right there in the 3 machine will burn it down here on the front stretch. But what a finish. Carlos, have you ever?
I don't think I ever have. What a fantastic job by Tanner Sharp. Getting it done in the famed 3 machine is going to do some burnouts in the grass in the front stretch. I'm sure he is one happy camper. And also heads up, if you do follow Tanner Sharp on Facebook or on Twitter, he did live stream this whole race. So he does have actual proof of him and everything he did in that race to watch over in case you wanted to have a different point of view. As wow, what a race, what a close finish. Let's see how close it was. It was 7 thousandths of a second, at least that's what iRacing is showing it at, as I'm sure Will is very, very happy at what was gonna be looking like a not so good finish for his team. Ended up in victory lane and fourth place. Pardon me, I got my my ATVO scoring just a little bit messed up, but we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, go over that last lap record, explain why there wasn't a caution when we come back.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Carlos, you live?
Yes, I am. And they can hear you, by the way.
Hey, everybody.
Hi. Hold on just one moment, everybody. All right. Let's go ahead and dissect that finish. Let me hide the UI there as I took some of the advice from the chat and tried to save the replay. First of all, no caution came out because the race leaders had already crossed the start-finish line for the last lap. So that's why iRacing did not throw one caution. Now, as to what happened in that last wreck, let's go ahead and just speed it up a little and then slow it back down. As I went just a little bit too fast, it's contact between the 88 and the 45. Sent the 45 up against the wall. The 25 tried to avoid it, hit the outside wall after making contact with the 45's back end. went into the grass, came back up again, and made some contact with, I believe it was, let's take a look at who it was, number 13 of Adam Capers, and caught some massive air. And yes, of course, we're going to go with the gyro cam in just a little bit. It's a couple other accidents happening in just in front, avoiding the wreck. Gonna go through all that and talk to our race winner. Unfortunately, Peter Short has a prior commitment he has to get to, so he is unable to hang out with us for the end of the race. So it is just me right now, as we are on board with the wrong person. But you know what? That's fine. That's a 13 that he's gonna run right up on into the back of the 25. We'll go back front just a little bit again and get a different angle. Hopefully this time from the 25. As he's already made some contact, about to hit the outside wall, makes some contact with the 13 and goes up in the air. This is not the first time we've seen a car do that today, and this is Daytona week, so it may not be the last time a car has done that. As I believe the 57 also had something else going on. I'm not sure if it was the 57, it may be. But a couple other drivers involved in that incident. Let's go on board. Well, not on board. Let's have the camera on the 57 and see if anything happened there. Checking up slightly. Oh, yeah, it was the 57. He made contact with the 45, who was coming back up across the start-finish line. The 99 of... that's not the 99. 99 Johnny Berardi also made contact with the inside wall as well as the outside wall. What a fantastic finish. Ooh. I can barely keep my breath steady there. Let me tell you what, this was a fantastic race, and it's something that I'm just happy we all got to see. I'm trying to figure out why my cameras aren't working. Well, they sure are now. Let's go and see if we can catch up to our third place finisher, David Wilson. Let's see where he is. Here he is. Bring him into the broadcast booth. David, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
David, well, you ended up finishing third. I'm sure you wanted to get the race win, but pretty much throughout that whole race, you were definitely one of the fastest cars, moving yourself through traffic and finding yourself up in the front the majority of the time. As it appears, my ATV was a little bit busted, so it shows David Wilson in second place, but he actually finished. Oh, you actually finished in second place. Hey, David, my ATV was busted. Yeah. It showed Tin Masters in a second. It also showed you in second, so I guess there's 2 second place finishes. But let's talk about how your race went. Why don't you give me your thoughts?
Yeah, the car was definitely fast all night. I was able to start second, finish second. Can't really be too upset with that. I ended up leading quite a few laps this race too. The car was definitely really good. I just kind of got caught up. Didn't really get caught up in much. I was able to avoid most of it, but at the end, I was gonna put up a block on Tanner, but I just thought that we might both wreck out and it would ruin everybody's races. So I just decided to keep it on the bottom and try to get a top 3 out of it.
Well, you definitely got a great finish in second place. That's going to be a great kick to your 2020 B-Car season. Before we talk about that, do you actually plan on running all the races for the Monday night B-Car series?
Yeah, I do plan on running all of Monday and all of Wednesday as well. I'm just going to see where the season takes me, and hopefully I'll be able to be in the Final Four whenever it comes to the end.
All right, that's great to hear. But yeah, great, fantastic start to your season. Well, before we do let you... Oh, pardon me. Actually, yes. Why don't we actually talk about this upcoming season? What are some of the races that you are excited for? What's something that you're interested in trying out?
I'm definitely looking forward to all the road course races, as last season I seemed to be very, very strong at those tracks. So I'm going to try to keep that up this season as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to Atlanta as well. I usually run pretty well there too. And yeah, it's gonna be different this season with how much stronger the competition is and how everybody's changed over the past year. It's definitely gonna be a lot closer racing throughout the pack, and it's gonna be one great series to watch this year.
That's great to hear. Well, before we do let you go, do you have any shout outs you want to give up?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys at the booth for broadcasting these races again, over and over and over, and for the past 2 years, I believe now too. It's all the drivers definitely appreciate it, and I'm sure all the fans watching definitely appreciate it as well. It's definitely great to go in after the races are done and go watch watch all the carnage or the battles that went on throughout the race, and it's really fun being in the driver's position throughout the race, and it's also cool being the spectator as well. I'd also like to thank Jeff Schmidt for making this league possible. Without him, all these guys would just be racing in normal official, and bringing them all together in this league. It was definitely well done by him, and can't thank him enough for it all. And it's such a great league to be in. It's really fun, awesome races every single week. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Well, thank you so much for your take, Dave, and we look forward to seeing you race in the inaugural SimPossible Racing League 500 Cup race. So, well, I know you're excited, looking forward to that, but we hope you have a couple good days to rest and think about that finish and think about what maybe you can do differently on Wednesday.
Alrighty.
All right, well, that was second place finisher Dave Wilson. Let's go see if we can catch up to our actual third place finisher, and that's James Ifa. James, well, we're going to get that figured out, as I'm sure James is not too happy with the way I've been either pronouncing or mispronouncing his names. As James, is it Ifa or Ifa?
It's Ifa. You got it right.
Ifa. Okay, cool. Perfect. Well, congratulations on a third place finish. As let me update the graphics little graphic there to actually have your name. James, third place finish. I know you definitely wanted to win bump drafting and working with your teammate Santa Sharp. Unfortunately, you did make some contact with the 45 right before you guys crossed the start finish line for the last lap. Damaged your race car and possibly damaged a shot at winning. But you ended up finishing third, pushing your teammate to the lead. How do you feel about how your race went overall?
It went great. Yeah, my car was starting to get a little loose on the tires, and a lot of guys were talking about, these cars they start getting squirrely on you through the tri-oval and stuff at times. It's unpredictable. I did the best I could. Sorry to Eddie there. My teammate was not Tanner, but I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. My teammate's Kevin Cochran in the number 80. We're KC Motorsports on Facebook.
I hope you understand why I made the mistake.
Yeah, we're running Earnhardt schemes. I got a run back on him there at the end, and I had so much of a run, I was going to try to squeeze up along the wall and get around him, but Tanner left me about 2 feet too less to do that, so I just went ahead and got up on him and pushed him through. But yeah, it was a fun race. Great racing with these guys. Funnest I've had. I've been on iRacing for 11 years now, and it's the best time I've had, bar none. So yeah, me and Kevin got a 3-4 for the team, so I'm proud of that.
Oh, that's a great job. I'm sure Kevin will be very happy about that. Before we do talk about what your thoughts are for this upcoming season, what are your plans? Well, I guess this actually is talking about the upcoming season. Do you plan on running all the Monday night races?
Yes. The B cars are my favorite. The Cup cars, I like them too. I'm planning on running both. I like to watch Xfinity more than any of it on TV. I really like the Xfinity cars, so this is a good spot for me on Mondays.
Well, that's great to hear. And, well, what are you looking forward to in this season? What are you excited for? What do you want to try out that's new?
This is my first full season with the league. I came in a little bit towards midway last year. Guys welcomed me in. I'm just looking forward to having a relaxing, fun time. I'm looking to score a top 5 in points in the B car. That's my goal. I know Dave and Tanner and AJ and them guys are pretty strong on every track. But we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see what it brings this year. And I want to tell you guys real quick, you guys do a great job broadcasting.
Thank you.
And I like to go back and watch the broadcasts, and it's you guys do a really professional job for us, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. And actually leads on to the last thing we want to talk about is what shout-outs do you have? I know you started it, but I'm sure you have more shout-outs to give out.
Yeah, just to my teammate, my sponsor Speeco. I've run with Speeco on my car, pretty much all my cars for probably 4 or 5 years now. I like having them on board. Shout out to Jeff, with the running the league and stuff. He does an amazing job. you couldn't ask for anything better. A lot of guys participate in web building and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. If 2 months of being dormant over the winter is not fun, it's good to get back to racing.
That's right. And while these drivers did have one official series that happened during Wednesdays with the Dirt Series, the first ever Dirt Series, I know now that the oval starting back up, this is a fantastic way to kickstart this 2020 season and get that top 5 points goal. As I believe you're currently achieving that goal. But of course, this is only one of many races. I believe it's 33 races overall, because as you guys are following the real life Xfinity schedule. So every time you guys are racing on Wednesday, they are racing on Saturday in that same time. So thank you so much, James. We hope to see you on Wednesday to finalize the 3White TV Daytona week. As well, you got a couple days to think about how maybe you can improve your position by 2 more.
Yeah, hey, thanks for calling me in the booth here. Yeah, good start. We'll see how it starts out for the Cups on Wednesday, but well, I guess I'll see you guys in.
All right, thank you so much, James. As I am running all over up to the victory lane as we just missed the celebration and the wine smashing and everything as Tanner Sharp, congratulations on winning another race and winning the first not the first ever, but the first race of the season. Here's the kazoo for you. How do you feel?
A little wore out, but it was fun. I say I didn't think I was going to win a race, but I had to try.
Our official stats guy, Kyle Zimmer. Oh, pardon me. Our official stats guy, Kyle Zimmer, did get on the chat and say that this is now the closest finish in SimPossible Racing League history. The previous one was about 200ths of. No, that's not right. I'm sure he meant to write 200ths of a second back in 2018. With this now being 7,000ths of a second, and that was the interval between you winning the race and you finishing in second. I'm sure you're definitely excited. How did the car feel? I know you say you didn't really expect to win it out there, but just in general, how did it go for you?
Well, first and foremost, if you hear little Einsteins or any Barney music in the background, it's because there's little kids around. But
don't lie. We all watch that.
We all watch that? All right, yeah, okay. Well, at least I'm not the only one. But anyways, no, how the car felt all right as far as handling wise, but the problem is when you're in a straight line, the cars are not. You're trying to keep a straight line, but you can't keep a straight line. Cars are bouncing off each other a little bit, around a lot. That's just because you're going at that speed on sim, and air around the cars is moving the cars around. So we just had we caused a couple incidents on that ordeal, but thank God we didn't get into it. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have been in that. So, but no, I don't like handling the cars on the straightaways at Daytona in these cars, but that's just the way it is. And yeah, what else to it, really? It's just putting yourself in the right place at the right time, and circumstances will dictate the.
All right. Well, as you are cutting out a little bit there, but we got what you were saying is you only led 1 lap tonight, and that's all it took to win this race. Before we do talk about this upcoming season, what your thoughts are you going to be running all the Monday races?
No, part-time on Monday, full-time Cup on Wednesday.
Yeah, I know you always wanted to get the championship, as usually pretty much every time you get a chance to actually be decent and compete. Well, be decent, you're always decent at all these racetracks, but every time you actually get really deep into it and you get a good chance to win the championship, something happens and you are unable to participate or compete. Hopefully this season breaks the curse and you're able to actually run a full season here at SimPossible, which will be very exciting. But in this 2020 season that's coming up, what's something that you're looking forward to? What's something you're definitely excited to try out?
Try out or things to look forward to? Well, things to look forward to is I'm not having surgery at all this year, and I'm not going to either.
Hey, there's a kazoo for you again.
We're going to try to win that championship this year on the Cup Series side. That's going to be the main goal. We're going to try to win the Cup Championship. We start off good this week in Daytona Speed Weeks, getting a win here tonight. Wasn't fast car, but the winner ain't the one with the fastest car. It's the one who refuses to lose. So tonight we weren't leading laps, but we were up there where it counted. And yeah, just looking forward to this week, kicking off Daytona this week, and going from there.
All right, well said. But before we do let you go, so you can celebrate this fantastic win and think about how you can maintain this streak on Wednesday as you compete in the Cup Series. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give up?
Well, I'm reading the chat here on the YouTube. Thanks everybody for all the congratulations and all that. Hopefully, I didn't have too much background noise on my mic because I got a cheap old. But thanks 3YTV. We had Hellman's on the car net. Hellman's mayonnaise. All the support from Will Warsler Racing on that end. Friends, family. Yeah, just thank you, Jeff Schmidt, for putting on such an awesome league for people who have disabilities, and looking forward to getting back into the car this year. No surgery this year, so free car. What you've seen tonight, we're gonna be a contender all year, not just Daytona. So keep an eye out for us.
Yeah, and your boss Will Worcester telling you great job, Tanner. So he's definitely happy with you, but I'm sure the pressure for you winning on Wednesday is still racking up, as Wednesday is the one where you are going to be competing full-time in. But anyway, you have a good night, Tanner, and hopefully you don't celebrate too hard, because I'm sure you got to work tomorrow, and you don't want to work with a hangover.
Well, thank you. I'm definitely going to hit up. I'm going to try to at least have a Jack and Coke tonight.
All right, good luck to you. Is actually, I think I may be competing with you in like about half an hour. As I don't know, are you going to be running that race?
No, I'm not, actually.
Right.
If anything, I'm just going to chill out the rest of the night, because that was a good fought Daytona race, and Jack and Coke in hand with one of my very good friends, so yeah, that's me fun.
No Mountain Dew, huh? All right. Well, you have a great night.
That's for Wednesday.
That's for Wednesday. Good call, good call. All right. Well, we'll see you on Wednesday, and hopefully talk to you in Victory Lane.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps it up for our interviews, except, hold on just one moment. Is that Jeff Schmidt eating a hot dog all the way in the distance? Hold on, I gotta run to him. Jeff, put that hot dog down. We gotta talk, buddy. Okay, no. I'm gonna cancel that bit. We've already been demonetized earlier today when I accidentally cut off the word asphalt at the worst moment. As well, Jeff, we are back. 2020 is off to a great start. We got the 3 in Victory Lane. We have a bunch of drivers who, right now, some of them may not be too happy, but come tomorrow, they'll all be happy and and think about what a fantastic race it was. Because up here in the booth with Peter, who unfortunately had to leave for other commitments, and the people watching the chat, they all had a great time watching. As Jeff, what did you see out there, man? What's going on with you?
Well, first of all, I wasn't really choking on a hot dog. I figured I would play along. No, it was a great race, man. It really was. It the first race of this season for 2020 with SimPossible, we couldn't have asked for a better race. Really, 40 laps out at Daytona, no cautions until later on. It was a great race, and I'm happy that you guys are part of it. And I'm happy that everyone was able to view it and see what happened here. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's true. It was. I had a great time. Now, you guys did do some off-season activities. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of fun in the off-season, no doubt. We had fun races. We had the dirt street stock races. Congrats to Travis Udema for winning the dirt stock series. He did a hell of a job in the dirt street stock car. And we never ran dirt in this league up until then. And it was really cool because, some of these guys were really good from the get-go on, running dirt. And some of the guys kind of were like, not so well at it, not so good at it. But by the end of the season of that, even though we only ran about it was probably about 8 races. Everyone really did really well, and they learned how to run dirt. By the time we were done with that, they did really well with it. So a lot of these guys really learned a lot with it. Eddie Hawks was up there running and winning a lot of it, but Travis Udema, he really pulled his weight and showed what he was doing with running the dirt street stock series, winning that championship, and pulling that much further ahead of his competitors with points.
All right, well said. Why don't we go ahead and talk about what you plan? What's happening this 2020 season? What's up in your sleeves? What are you looking forward to? What's got you excited? The food doesn't count.
Oh, we can't talk about the hot dogs anymore. Damn it. No, so SimPossible 2020. I have a lot to look forward to here. So we got the B Car series running Mondays, same time. We got the Wednesday Cup cars running an hour later. So if you guys want to catch the Cup cars running, you're gonna have to tune in to 3 White TV at 8 p.m. Eastern to catch these races. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot longer races than the Monday Xfinity series, if you will, Xfinity B Car, whatever you want to call it. We have a lot to look forward to here. We got 2 full schedules, one being the B Car series, Xfinity, whatever, and one being the Cup, and they are full schedules. Of course, the Cup series is going to be a lot longer, and man, we're just really looking forward to getting the season underway. We have tonight, of course, and man, we're just excited. It's a lot to look forward to. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the best here.
It's fine. It's the first one of the season.
There's a lot on our mind here.
That's true. You don't have to worry about a thing. This is all for a great cause, and this is all just for fun. As people like to say, a lot of these drivers don't get a chance to compete with people they don't get a chance to compete with people that would fairly judge them. We got a lot of people that maybe aren't the kindest in the world, and unfortunately, that's not something we can fix. We can create an environment for these drivers to just have a great time, and you've done that, and this is just something that's great to be a part of. But before we do wrap up tonight's broadcast and let you go so you can enjoy that hot dog, why don't you go ahead and give us some shout outs?
But no, SimPossible Racing League was created for drivers with a disability to have a fun time, and not only to have a fun time, but to be accepted in simulation motorsports, to just go out and run with each other, to not worry about anything in a stress-free environment, to have a good time, of course. It's just been such a great thing that we've done. We're in our 2nd year now, and it's been a blast. It really has. We're gaining new drivers. We're gaining more attention. The drivers are amazing. They really are. When you think of a disability, you don't think, hey, these guys are the fastest or whatever. But the truth is, these guys are very fast. They're very competitive. There's nothing really that sets them back from anyone else. If anything else, they should be more respected for having a disability and to be able to do what they're doing. I'm very proud of everyone. I'm extremely proud of all of our drivers. It's an awesome thing. We couldn't ask for anything more than what we have. It's a blessing. It really is, to be able to do this, to help these guys out, to have a good time doing it. The camaraderie and just able to joke around with each other is so fun, man. It's so awesome. So I really do appreciate everything. I appreciate you with 3 White TV to help us out, Carlos. You're a blessing as well, and we're just going to keep pushing on and keep on keeping on, man. We're going to keep on keeping on. So we're having a great time. SimPossibleRacing.com if anyone's interested in checking anything out. The website's newly revamped, which is awesome. The website contains not only the schedule and everything else that we do, but also a lot of stats. And Hugh, Kyle Zimmer, and Fernando, and Billy, and everyone else in the social media team that's helped to get to that point with that website. It's been a lot of work, and it's been a work in progress, but it's finally there to where we can say, hey, check out this website. Everything is there. If you are a driver with a disability and you want to sign up the sign up sheet's there too. So SimPossibleRacing.com. Come, check it out. It's awesome, man. We're having a lot of fun, and we all love each other, and we're having a blast doing it, man.
Well said, Jeff. And well, it's been a fantastic night today. A fantastic way to start Daytona, the Daytona Speed Week. Here we got broadcast today. We got a broadcast tomorrow with the ASRS Premier Cup Series. We got the premiere of the SimPossible Racing League Cup Series, which is going to be definitely exciting to watch, especially at these high banks. I can't honestly wait, Jeff. Thank you so much. Do you have any last thing you want to say before we let you go?
No, not really. Just anyone that watches us or supports us, thank you so much for doing so. I mean, we really are having a great time with each other, and we're having a lot of fun. Just using simulation motorsports to kind of ease what would be kind of a nightmare of a life for a lot of us. We're using it to our advantage, and we really appreciate all the support. We really appreciate 3 Wide TV. We really appreciate everything. And if you're interested in checking us out, just go to the website SimPossibleRacing.com. And yeah, man, we're gonna do what we're gonna do, and we're gonna keep doing it. So, other than that, I just appreciate everyone being part of it. Thank you so much.
Well said. And all right, thank you so much, Jeff. Well, before we do fully say goodbye, we got one last thing we got to take care of, and that is the race results. Tanner Sharp and David Wilson just executed the closest finish in SimPossible Racing League history, 7,000ths of a second, with Tanner edging out the 20 and getting that win. David Wilson definitely wanted to win, but just wasn't able to, finishing in second place. James Defoe finishing in 8th. Kevin Cochran in 4th. Pardon me, James Defoe finished 3rd. His number is 88. He finished 3rd. Kevin Cochran finished 4th. Nick Attila getting a 5th place finish. I'm sure he's going to be happy about that. Fernando Matos found himself a couple laps down with a couple laps left to go in this race and was able to get back in the lead lap and finish in 6th position. Chris Roberts finishing 7th. Kyle Zimmer wrote in the chat saying he wasn't happy with tonight. It didn't feel right for him. It wasn't his night. Looking forward to bounce back on Wednesday in the Cup Series, as he's going to finish in 8th. Eddie Hawks will be finishing 9th. Billy Wise will be finishing 10th. And Brian Lowhead, 11th. Alan Capers will be finishing 12th. Johnny Berardi, 13th. Tom Johnson, 14th. AJ Digby going to finish up in 15th. Kevin Paskowicz in 16th as well. There was a wreck on the field there. It's a replay from a previous incident. Doug McCollum finishing 17th, and Tim Masters in 18th. Just 18 drivers for the start of this season. What a fantastic job what traction this league is gaining, as we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. And it's been one fantastic night. Hold on one moment, that's not right, let me fix that. Yeah, unfortunately, Peter Short had to leave there towards the end. He wants to wish everybody a good night. He'll be seeing us tomorrow when we go live for the Premier Cup Series at Daytona at 9:30 p.m. But want to say a quick thank you to SimTV for providing us their wonderful graphics package. Pardon me, their wonderful camera package, and OCR Television for providing the wonderful graphics package that we have been so gracious and to benefit from and watching for a couple months now. But thank you so much for everybody. We wish you a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. See ya!